right, guys. So this is a client slash friend slash ex-colleague success interview. Okay, essentially what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be detailing the process and growth that Eric Moniz has used to add over $60,000 to his business in the first 2 months here of 2025. Now, the story goes back as such. He actually started to work with us as a client when he was earlier in the stages of his journey. And then during that initial engagement, we had a few job opportunities that he jumped on. He ended up coming internal and working with my team Catalyst here for several months before we actually decided that it was better off if he just spread his wings and continued to double down on his business. Since he went on his own and began to double down on his business, he has really just blown it up using a lot of the systems and stuff that we were implementing here at Catalyst that he learned while working at Catalyst, and then also what he originally learned in his shorter stint when he was actually a client of ours on the front end. So I'm going to cut to the interview now. He's going to share exactly what he did, the biggest things that he learned, the things that he wished he knew earlier, the things that if he knew today would have saved him so much time, effort, and money, would have made a lot of money a lot quicker. And lastly, at the very end, he's going to share the difference between the people that succeed and the people that don't. So stay tuned, because that's a very important one where theoretically, if you just do the thing at the end, well, you're going to have a higher chance of succeeding than if you don't. Other than that, let's get into the interview now. Alrighty, fellas, back with another video here. I got a guest coming on this show to do, I guess, what you can consider a success story, a success podcast. I want to start this off how I always start this off, and Eric doesn't know I'm about to ask him this question. Tell me the most fucked up story from the last 90 days of your life.
That's a tough one. It's not a bad fucked up, but it was fucked up. Was actually trying to manage onboarding for all the new companies that were coming in, because it was just like one after another after another, and I thought I had good systems in place, and all the systems that I've built out, working with you guys and doing all those were great, but it just all hit very quickly. And it was like, all right, time to put these to the test. So it was like night after night after night of like, okay, make sure this is running, make sure this is running, this is firing, this is tracking, SOPs are in place.
That's sweet. Well, we'll get into the growth of your business, what you did, what changes you made, and the results that you got and how you got that. But first of all, I want to give the audience a second to learn about who you are. I guess a good first question I'd like to start this off with is, what even inspired you to start your entrepreneurial journey in the first place?
There's a couple different areas to this. So if I go too long, just kind of tell me to knock it off. My first business that made decent money was actually a party house that I ran in college. So it was like this old beat up house. You could punch your hand through the wall and it would be outside. And we got it to the point where in college it was making 6-7 grand a month just throwing parties.
Hosting parties?
Yep. We had security teams, we had money drop teams, we had a finance team, and it was a total shit show, but an organized shit show.
Yeah, I'd expect so.
Yeah, as you could
Did you attend the parties?
I ran the parties, so I did attend them. Had to
Yes, there you
show
go.
face a little bit.
There you go. You got to test out the product.
That was kind of my first active business and where we built out a team. But something that really inspired me actually was two of the professors I actually had in college.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, when I told them that I'm starting a business, said, "There's no way that you'll be able to do that." They basically just shut me down immediately. And I said, "Fuck you. I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to show you." Not even that I had to go back and show them, but it was just to myself. I was like, I'm going to fucking make this happen. And the other one was actually more along the lines of, "I'm going to push you, make sure you still get all your stuff done, but if you have to work in class, go for it."
Mm-hmm.
So that was super inspiring as well.
Sweet. So then what was life, I guess, like for you before you started the business?
At the party house, you can imagine, like, you can only party so much. And especially in an old beat up house, you kind of get tired of it always smelling like beer and just filth. After that, kind of lost for a bit. Like, I was trying all the different business models and I was getting some of them to work, but never really just focusing all in on one. So I was just split up all over the place.
Okay. And why did you, I guess, decide to do something about it? Like, there's a lot of people that are lost all over the place, still trying to party with young chicks. Right? But very few people actually do anything about it.
For me, I think once I get a hold of something, I just obsess into it and learn every aspect of it. And that's all I want to do. So it's like pretty much it started to become when I started to learn about this. And at that time, I was doing like 10 different things, which was, Forex. I had e-com stores. I had YouTube channels. I had all those different things. But that was like all I was focused on. And now all of a sudden, the people that I was normally around, like that was all I talked about. So there was like no more anything to talk about. It was just the things that I was starting to get interested in, seeing and meeting the people that also came along with that, seeing seeing where they were and where I wanted to be.
What were you most concerned about?
At that point, I was just concerned about making something and like being something,
What do you mean by that?
just building something, and that I like it was kind of an ego play, which,
Mm-hmm.
still have a little bit of an ego now, but it's a lot more tame.
Yeah.
At that point, it was more about the idea of, wow, I've got 10 businesses, right? So like what I was concerned about was like, well, I've got 10 businesses. Like that's cool. I want to be able to say I've got 10 businesses, whether they were making money or not, which they were all making a little bit of money, not all of them, but they were all doing something. But at that time, that's what it was really all about.
10 businesses is kind of fucked.
Yeah.
How many? You have one right now, correct?
That's it. I've cut off everything and put all my focus into this.
So I guess why did you decide to even then, I guess, get involved with us and take just one of these businesses seriously? Like, how did you choose, first of all, out of all the 10, how did you choose the agency? And then follow up question to that is then like, why did you decide to, take the next step to grow it?
As the agency was growing a little bit, the e-com channels were growing a little bit, or the stores were growing a bit, the YouTube was growing a little bit. Like everything was growing a little bit, but nothing was ever excelling. Like everything, once there was a problem, I would just go to the next thing. Be like, oh, I'll solve that later. I'm going to go work on this. And that's just that shiny object syndrome. And every entrepreneur goes through it at some point. The agency was the one that was the most consistent, and I could see was also actively helping people. And I got to be involved with people and do things with people. Sometimes that's a pain in the ass. Like, we all know clients are clients.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the main piece that had the biggest potential. And not that the others didn't, but I knew my time had to be focused in on one thing. So the agency model was just something that I've already started digging into, something that was already producing. And I knew if I just doubled down on it and stopped doing all these different things, that had the quickest growth possibility.
Nice. So then obviously we had the pleasure of working with you on the same team for a few months, close to half a year, I believe it was. I'm curious to know, obviously being in that environment, I guess seeing kind of the inside of how we were running our business, as well as, all of the resources and whatnot that we built and the systems and all that kind of stuff. When it became time for you to spread your wings a little bit, double down after we kind of stopped working together, what was, I guess, the biggest breakthrough, the biggest mindset shift, the biggest change that you made into your business?
That's hard because there's a lot. There was a lot that went on. It actually initially started before I came onto the team. So when I came in as an agency, it was just seeing everything so differently, because the traditional agency model, your normal just kind of monthly retainer, you get complacent, and it's like, okay, I can solve this. I'll figure it out. It'll go. And there's not really like a high intensity aspect to it, especially with what we were focusing on back then, which was SEO. We learned a bunch of things. I learned a bunch of things when I was going through initially as an agency. And I've always been the kind of person where if I meet the people and I like the people and I know I want to learn from these people, I'll do whatever I have to do what I have to do. So like, even in that sense, going from the agency to working on the team, like I was happy putting my company on the back burner. And that's exactly what I did. So I got to see what it was like to be coached, and then start helping coaching the mindset changes across all of that. Just the way that I look at systems, the way that things need to be tracked, the way that SOPs really need to be dialed in so that you can actually duplicate it and scale. They're just things that I've never had to look at before, because we've just never had a structure like this.
So upon implementing all this, and now it's obviously been a couple months since you've been kind of working on your own there, and you've obviously had the time for all these systems and SOPs to catch up, right? Because nothing's going to be overnight, right? Like when you implement something today, you're probably going to see the results from that in a week from now, 2 weeks from now, whatever that may be. So now that you've had the time to, do all that and go through that, I guess, how has everything changed?
We move fast. It's fast. It's really fast. And that was a huge change, because like I was saying before, it was kind of like, we'll get to it, as we're getting to it, oh, we'll make a tweak here, and then wait, and then we'll make a tweak, and then wait. Now it's aggressive. I mean, we're spending $150 a day on ads. We're fixing that if there's a problem the same day.
Yeah.
We're not making a tweak and waiting. We're making a tweak, tracking all the data, and updating as soon as we possibly can.
For sure. Oh no, I get that, right? Like obviously we're spending close to $2,000 a day on ads right now, right? And it's like when you're spending any amount of money on ads, especially when it's like comparative, it's like when things aren't going right, you don't add it to your to-do list. You fix it immediately.
Yeah.
Right. Now, sweet. So then looking back I guess over the kind of journey that you've been on to where you've gotten today, what are you most proud of?
It's actually a couple different things. Something that I am very proud of, and I bring it up often, it was actually the ability to be able to work with you in Catalyst and watch some of the companies that I was working with make their first five, ten, $20,000. That was just an awesome experience on its own. Outside of that, I mean, if we're talking about my business, the way that we've been able to adapt, because when we initially started, it was all focused on SEO, which is a super slow game. And now we still incorporate SEO. It's an important part, but we've adapted so many different aspects. I mean, I went from having, my main team as just being a couple delivery people to like, we have a full sales team now. And my whole focus is not so much just doing all the little day-to-day things or things like that. It's more so focused on building. And that's kind of always been my biggest thing is I like to build things, whether it's building my thing, my business, or helping other people build their businesses, just being able to build. So we're at a point now, which is what I am super proud of, where since we've implemented everything, since we're tracking everything, I know exactly what needs to be fixed at which areas. Now there's a shit ton of them, but I know exactly where all the bottlenecks are and I can see them clearly. So that's something I'm super proud of.
That's sweet. So I guess the next kind of the counter question to that is like I like to look at this from, maybe from the perspective of when you were first pushing those retainers before we even met for the first time to where you are now. What has surprised you the most about this entire process?
What surprised me the most was how much when you put your back against the wall that you can make happen. And like I've always been that kind of person. Like if I say I'm gonna make it happen, I'm gonna make it happen. But when things start moving 10 times faster, you better make it happen.
Oh
Especially when
yeah.
you start bringing on a sales team and you've got more delivery people. It's like, well, now I'm not just making it happen for me and all the people that are our clients, but I gotta make sure I'm making it happen for them.
Yeah, I know that's relatable. Yeah, especially the last month. We got a crazy last month for a story like that too. So I guess then, if you were to talk to either your younger self or somebody before you really got going with this, or maybe somebody before you even started working with Catalyst in any capacity, like when you're kind of in those early stages, like what is the one piece of advice that you would give to them in regards to how to grow their business, what to do, what not to do, and things like that?
Fail fast. Get it out of the way because you're going to get your mess ups, get through them, and then just move to the next thing as soon as you possibly can. Don't dwell on it. Just fuck it up and go fix it.
Do you have any routines or lifestyle changes that you've made that have attributed to your success?
My normal routine is, I'm up at around 4:30, hit the gym in the morning, then get to the office for about 9, just kind of rock through there. Not much has changed. I mean, I like what I do. I like building everything, so that's pretty much what I do throughout the week. And then on the weekends it's the same thing. One thing that I'm doing now more than I've ever really done in the past couple of years is I am making sure that I do get just occasional out of office, just complete detached, just shut down, go do something else, spend time with family. I actually had a pretty interesting weekend, but get out, just go do something. Like, for example, over the weekend, I had somebody who flew in from Australia that I met 2 years ago at a conference. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just cutting off for the weekend. Got to go detox. A lot of shit happened in the past 2 weeks. So you know what? Everybody else on the team, you guys can handle it until I get back.
I guess to flip to that question, what's the best piece of advice that you've received?
That you need to focus all in on one thing.
Yeah.
Everyone says that millionaires have 7 streams of income. They didn't at first, and they didn't build all of them by doing 10 different things at the same time. They built one, got it to where it was abundant, and then moved from there.
Yeah, no, I agree. For you now, what's next? Like, what is the biggest challenge in your business right now that you're trying to solve at your current scale? And yeah, what's next and what's upcoming for you and your business?
Aggressively scaling. So my biggest thing right now is getting my sales team as dialed in as possible and then maxing them out, getting them to the point where we have to bring on another person. And that's definitely been a bit of a different process than building a delivery team, just trying to train people on sales, because at the end of the day the business owner is the person who knows the best on how to sell something. That has been, we have like really hot streaks and then it dips down and then we get hot and then it dips down. So managing that right now on top of managing delivery team, I mean, those are the big things, because we want to make sure that onboarding stays as smooth as possible. And actually, the next really big thing is we've got proof of concept. Like we're at a point where this isn't like, oh, is this going to work or is this not going to work? So we've been getting, just based on everything we've got set up with the ads and all that, we've started to get a lot of pretty high quality prospects. That sales process is something that's very different. So, you've got the people that come in that are a million and under. That can be a one call close. But once you start getting into the 2, 3, 4 million, then those companies are definitely, and this could be a mindset, a limiting mindset, a limiting belief, but those sales processes are a little bit more difficult. So that's the big focus, is trying to get that more dialed in.
That makes sense. And what do you think separates the people that succeed in the agency world and business world from those that don't?
The people who take risks, that would be the biggest thing. The people who are willing to get out of their comfort zone, the ones that are willing to do whatever they have to do to get to where they want to be.
Interesting. Alrighty, man. Well, I guess, is there anything else that I guess I didn't ask you about that you wanted to share?
I mean, we touched on it. For anybody else that's watching, the biggest thing that you need to be able to do is have SOPs and KPIs. That was one of the biggest things that I've learned from you guys, is you need to be able to track everything. If you're not tracking every aspect of what's going on, you don't know what to improve. You don't see where the problems are.
That's sweet. Alrighty, man. Well, it was a pleasure to have you on the show.
Appreciate you having me.